Allan Lengel, co-founder of Deadline Detroit, by the way of the Washington Post, Detroit News, and the Eagle American. Vanessa, attorney and shit starter from Detroit. She throws the oil on the fire.
You know what? My son told me that one day. He
true.
was like, "Mom, I'm like, no, that's not true."
Well, welcome.
Good morning.
We're gonna wait for her outrage, but I'll go to you, Allan. What's the outrage of the week?
Well, I think we're all going to have similar outrages, so I won't eat it all up. But the slavery education thing down in Florida, where they want to say there were some benefits to that, and I'll say the comparison. My parents are Holocaust survivors, and I guess I should thank the Nazis for giving my parents the survival skills to move on. I mean, it's the most outrageous bullshit. And like we were talking before we started, it's the Klan resurfacing in Florida with suit and tie and being a lot more subtler. They're not wearing the hooded things, but they're doing all the same shit. They're trying to get everything back to what it was.
Remember David J?
Yeah.
David J used to be a state rep, senator out of Macomb County. Used to go out with another state rep named Deborah Wyman. He said, this was years ago, that slaves practiced slavery was a affirmative action program because slaves they got free food, room and board, didn't have to pay rent. And said poor whites struggled and slaves benefited from it. So we seeing the same shit hashed out. Go to you.
So that is my outrage that the Florida Board of Education decided that they're going to what characterized it as, we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. There was nothing good about slavery. There's nothing good about telling a lie about the history of America. If you want to talk about history, let's talk about the history for real. Let's talk about how America was not founded. Let's talk about how America was stolen from the natives. I am pissed off, outraged that you have the unmitigated gall to say that these are going to be guideline benchmarks. We're not trying to erase anything. But what you're saying, in fact, is that people who were brought here, right, kidnapped, however you want to characterize it, brought here to another country. Wait a minute. You want to say that they receive some benefits for working for free? And these are the same people, I will submit, these would be the same people who have a problem with reparations, right? You have people working for free forever. These are the same people who criticize people who are receiving welfare assistance. I believe that this country was designed for people who look like me to remain poor.
Okay, well, let's play the clip that we have.
All right, here we go.
Florida done it. They are now mandating that schools teach slavery as beneficial. Let's go to the first video.
Do not, for the love of God, tell kids that slavery was beneficial, because I can guarantee you it most certainly was not. Thank you.
Education and civil rights advocates are slamming new Black history teaching standards in Florida. Under the new rules, middle school teachers must now include lessons, quote, how slaves developed skills, which in some instances could be applied for their personal benefit.
It's inaccurate, it's ahistorical. Critics are calling this a big step backwards and saying it's a disservice to Florida students because they're not going to learn the full truth and the full accurate truth of American history.
This is insanity on top of insanity.
You know what they said about Rosewood? Said that, okay, Rosewood happened, but let's talk about the Black residents that committed that committed crimes against the white mob. Right. So the Republicans, I had to give them credit. They have found their niche in one word, wokeism, and they running with it. So any and everything. Now let's go to Texas A&M. Where they wanted to hire this professor, African American, from the University of Texas for their journalism program. They initially offered her a 5-year contract, tenure, and then all of a sudden there was some opposition because they said, oh, she worked for the New York Times at one time. She did some research. So they said, okay, we give you 2 years, no tenure. Then it was 1 year. She said, screw you. And then the president resigned. Now, you know how you get back at the places like that? They got no problem recruiting black athletes to make their money for them. Tommy Tuckerville or whatever the fuck his name
Tupperware,
is.
Tommy Tupperware.
Yeah.
Tuberville.
He made his money off of the backs of those same African American athletes. Now he get elected senator, and now he's blacks are not qualified to be in the military, not qualified to be promoted. It's just the same old bullshit. So Ron DeSantis is finding out that what plays in Florida don't play around the fucking country. And he's dead on arrival.
Yeah, he's declared, this whole woke thing is just a declaration against anyone who is not white, Protestant, whatever. It's ridiculous. It's like the same thing that happened with, when Bush was president and they had the vice president. I'm trying to remember his name now. Forgettable.
Dan Quayle?
Yeah, Dan Quayle. He had a speech against single moms. These people are declaring war on people who aren't like them. There's so many people. It's such a diverse kind of thing, and it's just insanity. Here's another thing from slavery.
His name may not be familiar to you, but this is John Brown. John Brown was enslaved in the mid-1800s and subjected to excruciating experiments by a Georgia doctor named Thomas Hamilton. Hamilton believed there were physiological differences between black and white people, and he used Brown's body to prove it. After he escaped slavery, Brown described what happened to him in an autobiography. Dr. Hamilton set to work to ascertain how deep my black skin went. This he did by applying blisters to my hands, legs, and feet, which bear the scars to this day. That happened because Dr. Hamilton, a slave owner, was trying to scientifically bolster the prevailing ideology that black people were mentally and physically inferior to white people and therefore benefited from enslavement.
Well, you know what? This is nothing new. We've been dealing with this. We've been hearing this forever. When Emmett Till, when they found his badly beaten body, what they did, whatever they did to him, they had the nerve to claim that he killed himself first. Oh, he committed suicide. So this is nothing new.
Well, my thing is, if you're going to talk about the benefits, let's talk about how black folks has benefited this country. How people got rich off of people working in servitude. How we have all these inventions that they don't talk about. We only have 28 days in February to talk about Black history. If you want to talk about history, tell the real history. Tell all the history. Don't lie about a benefit. Lie about the benefits that you guys receive.
Okay, we're going to take a break, Henry. And we'll be back with our first guest.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri.
What's going on?
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. We are living through unprecedented times. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. Residents may apply for up to $25,000 to help cover 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax years. Previous year's taxes must be paid in full or in a payment agreement with the Treasurer's office. Eligible homeowners must have a qualified financial hardship that occurred on or after January 21st, 2020. You must currently own and occupy your home as your primary residence and must have owned it since January 21st, 2020. To see if you qualify, please visit waynemetro.org, call 313-388-9799, or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Hey, welcome back. The other day, I met this gentleman, Terry Johnson, attorney Terry Johnson, at Channel 62.
Yes, sir.
Oh, man. We had a little debate. He said, I love Joe Biden so much, I lost all my hair. And I'm not calling him patches. You know, I say, you catching up with me. But we had listen, we were on the, 3 seconds?
Yeah.
Yeah, they gave us, I like going on that show.
I do
because
too.
They do not interfere with you. They just let you go at it. You know? The other political pundit, a Republican, Jason, you copped out, man. But you, Terry, welcome, man.
I am glad to be here, and I'm gonna tell you something. You are next to a beautiful, smart, intelligent woman, and that can only help you get better. And
don't play. Don't play.
I have a lot of I have a lot of respect for both of you, and I appreciate y'all having me out.
Okay. Let me say this for our viewers. Terry and I have been friends forever, over 20 years now.
Yeah.
And different political stands, but guess what? He looks at the person. He supported me when I ran for Congress.
Yep.
And anything else that I plan to run for, he is going to support me.
Yes.
Okay.
Because he likes the person. He knows what I stand for. And one of the things that we talk about all the time is we need to get away from these D's, R's, G's, I's, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Well, we
need to look at the individual.
Wait a minute. We need to get away from the love fest.
Let's do it. He ready?
All right.
I'm about to get beat up.
No, we know you a GOP guy.
I am. But my question is, why aren't you?
Because listen, my family stopped when when y'all had
Reconstruction.
Right.
Reconstruction.
But anyway, your take on what the Board of Education in Florida trying to implement as Black History.
You know, I heard Vanessa say this right before I came on in the last segment, is we need to tell the whole truth. We cannot teach one side of history. We can't just say slavery benefited one side and one side only. You know, that's not what this is about. I mean, slavery was and is deplorable. But, you know, the funny thing is I don't see this take when we start talking about the Holocaust and other things. It seems like they only want to come after Black folks with this. My biggest issue comes down to what do we do about it? And when I say that, like you and I were just going back and forth about, you know, Republicans, Democrats, and all of that, we need to prostitute our vote. And we are not doing that. In Florida, you have Ron DeSantis, who is right now running on what he's doing in Florida. I'm not 100% behind. Some things I think he's done well. Some things like this, I am really.
Yeah, what do you think he's doing well?
I think he handled the COVID situation well. I think the economy in Florida is doing well.
Inflation is up.
Well, that's a national thing.
But inflation in Florida is number one, and two. We have one of our co-hosts, Allan, who would probably beg to differ with you about the Holocaust. His parents were survivors, and you know it's the same thing that some people denied there was a Holocaust. Some people denied that slavery was that evil.
Right.
Ron DeSantis said there was no segregation. We didn't lynch anybody.
Well, we still have segregation today.
Let me say, say this. I do think that Allan will probably disagree, but I think all three of us will agree that when they look at Allan, we don't look at him as Jewish. The average person that's walking around, they look at him as a white man. Okay, right. And so the history, when we're talking about the history, we're talking about the history of this country. And so you have to tell the whole truth. Exactly.
And that's the problem, that I think people want to only say what the part they want to hear, and without the whole history. And again, part of that is we have to teach our kids as African Americans what truly happened. And we can't rely on other people, whether it's the school district, whether it's city council, whoever, to do that. We have a responsibility as well. So But they do need to teach both sides and let people make their own decisions.
And when you say both sides, I was just going to ask him that.
Well, when I say both sides, if somebody wants that should be of anything. What school is not there to say this is bad, this is horrible. School should be there to talk about the facts. And what I'm saying is, this was slavery. They brought people over from Africa in chains. Fact. They made them work. Fact. They did, beat us, did this. Those are facts. They made a lot of money. Fact. Okay. But when we start getting
raped the women.
Yeah.
Rape the women, right.
But the other side of that is you had abolitionists. You had people who did not support slavery. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
That is something that we know, but that is not talked about a whole lot.
Right. And here's the other part of this. When you look at the percentage of people that were slave owners back in the day, and a lot of people forget this, some of us even owned slaves.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
But it was only for well, I don't know the numbers. It doesn't tell the truth, even if it's one, but the point I'm making is not every white person owned slaves. It was a small percentage. That doesn't make it better or worse.
We all know that they used the working class folks to enforce slavery, while the rich plantation owners benefited from it. I learned that in school.
Yeah.
But let's get down to the GOP. You have a party here in Michigan that's in chaos.
Yes.
You got a nut that's running it.
No disputing that.
And you got 16 people who have been indicted because they believe that they could just overthrow
one
the
of which we
government.
know.
So how you gonna put them back together?
Well, again, let's start at the top. Here in Michigan, I do believe this party, unfortunately, has imploded. Okay. I know Christina Carmanos. I'm not sure what's going on upstairs at this point. Okay. But I will say this: the question is, how do you put it all back together? We got to get back to the principles of what the party is about. This party is going way too far right, and it's no different than when the times the Democrats have gone way too far left. The question is, how do we get it back? We just got to go back. And here's the interesting thing: right now, last numbers I looked at, 62% of African Americans are happy with Joe Biden. That means 38% are not. That number is very, very low. But my problem is right now, we have the opportunity to build something back in Michigan, but we got to reach out to the African American folks and find out what's going on. The problem is neither party is doing that.
But you know what? Let me tell you something. James Craig decided to run.
Yes.
Signatures. An idiot, because he could have came right here in Detroit. There's enough people that supported him, liked him, and got his signatures. But he listened to those crackpots up in Lansing, and he didn't get on the ballot. I say,
a couple of them. Yep.
Shame on you, because they refused to come in here.
But wait a minute.
James could have beat
stabbing on both of them.
But he never campaigned.
And you know what? You're right. And I agree with you.
But from a Democratic family.
But let me go back to you on one thing with James Craig. James Craig was great. He was wonderful. Everybody loved him until he said, "I'm running for governor." "Oh, we're behind you. I'm a Republican." Whoa. And going back,
he was great as far as he was concerned.
Well, I'm saying everybody, a majority of the people around here loved James Craig and what he did. But kind of like you said, we didn't look at the individual. We looked at the R, and that's what pulled a lot of people back.
But he still could have.
He could have.
He still could have got on the ballot. He still could have made a dent. You know what? You had people, Republican candidates, whether they were running for the Supreme Court or whatever, get 15, 20% of the vote out of the city.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
But he couldn't even get on the ballot. John James didn't even.
He didn't
even campaign in a place that he grew up in.
Right.
His father was big time Democrat.
Yep.
Right.
I'm like, why don't you come in and he grew up with Coleman Young II.
Yep.
They played together.
Yep. You are 100% right.
Said, I'll endorse him. He's a childhood friend.
Right.
He was he refused to come.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go back
But it
again to what Vanessa said from the beginning. We need to look at the individual, and again, he was getting bad advice, and most of the Republicans who end up running for state office do just the opposite of what you said. They run away.
You know he's gonna have a problem.
Who's that?
Getting reelected over in that swing
in
district.
Macomb.
It's going
In
to be
Macomb
tight
County.
because they barely got in this time.
And no
Yeah.
question, he was running.
And he was running against a weak candidate, somebody who thought that, oh, I'm a shoe-in because I have the name recognition.
Right.
And he didn't do any
You're right.
campaigning either. He did very
He
little
didn't have any
campaign.
money.
Well,
Right.
And John James
Had a lot.
So, and you know,
It's
people-
going. You're right. It's going to be interesting. But see, we can't. Let me say this real quick, Vanessa. The issue is we have a tendency to let, just like Adolph said, people outside of Detroit tell us how to run a statewide campaign. We don't go and do the things we need to do as Black people coming back into the city, trying to get our votes, telling people this is who we are. I 100. First time you're going to hear this. I 100% agree with you on that topic.
That's
Okay.
not true.
Now, the Senate race. Who the Republicans got that they going to put up against Slockman?
I don't know at this point. I don't know at this point because that's coming up in 24, right? Is that right?
The campaign
around the corner.
Yep, that's coming. That is a great question. I do not know. The only one I can think of, believe it or not, and I know you're going to watch him jump up here. Only one I can think of who may have an outside chance would be John James.
Huh.
I mean, that's the only one I can think of at that point. I don't think it would go over well because, again, he's going to have the same problem he had, which is coming into this area and trying to get votes. That's the only one I can think of.
But people looking for something different. And I'm going to tell you, if you ask, you might get. But these people don't ask. Hillary Clinton lost Michigan by that much. I could have got those votes on the east side, but she never
asked.
She didn't even send a piece of literature in 16.
But remember what
wait a
Trump
minute.
said.
I'm going to say this too. The people that she had in Detroit helping her, they took the money and put it in their pockets and didn't do what they needed to do. So you go to the same people and you get the same mediocre results. My thing is this. I think that the voters now have just disengaged. You talked about 62% of African Americans support Joe Biden. I'm like, what poll are you looking at? Because I know a whole lot of people who did not vote at all, are not impressed with him, not impressed with the other guy, don't give a flying shit about either candidate. And that is huge in the Black community.
Well, but here's the thing. It's just the reality. And let me go back, and I know I'm going to create a little
Are you
controversy
saying
here.
62% of the 14% that vote? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know. I'm just saying the poll I saw, they said they're unhappy with it. I cannot think of it off the top of my head. But let me say this. This, in my opinion, all goes back to one candidate from 2008 by the name of Barack Obama.
Oh, yeah, you're about to get beat up. You talk about my man.
Well, here's the thing. Your man didn't do anything for anybody that looked like us.
Let me say this, though. Let me say this.
Listen.
I don't disagree with you in part.
What
But
did he do for us?
Let me say this.
Adolph and I are agreeing here. Look out.
2 for 2. But I think this is an example of someone that ran for office, made all these promises about what he was going to do, got in office and found out, in fact, he couldn't do
I disagree.
the things that he
No,
wanted to do.
he did
That's-
No.
You can disagree,
But hear me
it's
out.
my opinion.
I get it, but hear me out on this. Everything he promised to the gay community, he did. To the Democrats,
right.
he did. But here's my question.
I
What
agree
did
with
he
that.
promise to the Black people? He didn't even promise us anything.
Did we ask for anything?
But whose fault is that?
Did we ask for anything?
I don't know. Did we?
You know the people. You know the people.
Huh? Healthcare.
That's
But that's a universal thing. But my thing.
That's right, Allan.
But my thing
He's the
is.
resident Democrat. He followed the Democratic line down.
I get it, but my
all
thing
the way
comes down to
down.
this. If we don't, but we had expectations of him because of what he looked like.
Well, let's take a break. Allan.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabree. We are living through unprecedented times. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. Residents may apply for up to $25,000 to help cover 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax years. Previous year's taxes must be paid in full or in a payment agreement with the Treasurer's office. Eligible homeowners must have a qualified financial hardship that occurred on or after January 21st, 2020. You must currently own and occupy your home as your primary residence and must have owned it since January 21st, 2020. To see if you qualify, please visit waynemetro.org, call 313-388-9799, or email textinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
All right, we are back. I am Adolph is letting me sit in here. I was listening to it. I always
Sometimes I have to beat them up.
I agree that the candidates don't promise even enough to black voters, but when you talk about nothing, I mean, Obama, with affordable health care, I think a lot of
That's not a direct benefit.
Well, it's
so, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but think about what you're saying. Affordable health care. And what I mean by that is that benefits everybody. I'm talking something like, for example, what he did for the gay community. He did something that applied to them. Not and what you're saying is basically the poor black people. What about the people that aren't poor? That are black? We did not have any expectations of Barack Obama as president as black people. We said he looks like us. He's one of us. Here we go. But wait a minute. And what's happened now? Trump didn't give us anything, and Biden's not giving us anything because guess what? We will continue to make the votes for the Democratic Party.
And let me say this, Terry, you were one of those people, even though you're a Republican, you voted for the person. You voted for Barack, right?
The first time I did, because I believed he would do what's right, and I could not the second time.
Well, I'll say, I mean, it's interesting with Barack Obama. He did probably more campaigning in Grand Rapids or wherever because he did take for granted. I've got this vote sealed up. I need to get the white votes out in Grand Rapids or up in Traverse City,
right,
or wherever. But I think you're right to some degree. But I think with Biden, I think they have been trying to the gerrymandering issue. They've voting rights have not done enough. Certainly have not done enough.
He's held. Look at what Biden has done. Slide over just a little.
All right.
Always got room for Adolph here.
Musical chairs.
My thing is, I'm saying what agenda is out there for African Americans. You've got an agenda for everyone else. You've got an agenda for suburbanites. You've got an agenda for the LGBTQ, et cetera, et cetera. You've got every other group has something. Look at the White House a couple of months ago, the signing that happened, and people were walking around, topless and other things. When has anybody come forth recently, and I'm talking well before Obama, and said, look, I'm going to do this for the African American community?
Well, let me ask you, what are the issues that you want done?
I can tell you exactly.
Go ahead.
I can tell you exactly. We need to have better education systems in the inner cities that match those of the suburbs. We need to have economic growth or some plan to build up things in the African American communities. Because guess what? Right now we are downtown, and I haven't been in the Corktown area in a couple of years, right? I look across the street, I look around, this is beautiful, but you know what I'm seeing? I'm seeing money come down here, but I don't see any money going in the neighborhood.
But when you say about suburban schools, you got suburban school districts, some of them in worse shape than the inner city. Education.
Well, I'm talking about
but he's talking about, but specifically he's talking about what should benefit African Americans.
Well, I had a problem with Obama, and my wife beat up on me because I said he didn't do this, didn't do this. When Obama ran, it wasn't a campaign, it was a movement. People voted for the first time because they wanted the guy could talk, the guy had charisma,
swag.
Vanessa loved him.
The first Supreme Court appointment, I was pissed.
Oh, I agree with you.
You know what?
And I'm with you.
Right,
I'm 100% with you. He had an opportunity
and
to put someone, a black person, on Supreme Court. He had two opportunities.
And he let Mitch McConnell outmaneuver him. He couldn't persuade Ruth, who died in office.
It was
Ruth Bader
Scalia.
Ginsburg. Ginsburg.
No, Scalia.
Oh no, Ruth Bader Ginsburg was.
At the end of his.
She should have stepped aside.
Grandpa persuaded my man to step down.
Right.
Now I forget because Grandpa been around a long time. But Obama couldn't get her to go nowhere, man. I mean, it's like, come on.
Well, I'll say another thing about Obama as a reporter. All of us had hoped to get protection, to get a SHIELD Act, a federal SHIELD Act to protect our sources. Instead, Eric Holder, who I like Eric Holder's, but they were harder on the press and we never got that protection. So, then
the Republicans say, Obama was soft on immigration. He sent more people back
he did.
Than anybody combined.
He did.
But let me ask you this.
Let
me ask you this.
Yeah.
If it was any way possible for him to run again, would you vote for him?
Obama?
Obama.
Yeah.
I love Obama was my favorite president.
But that's the problem right there. And that's what we have today.
And I would too.
It's like, I like the man. And let me give you an example, right? Obama and Trump. Who would I rather hang out with? I'd rather hang out with Obama. I bet he would be fun, have a beer,
do some cocaine,
intelligent.
But I would love that. But you know what? Trump, I probably wouldn't want to hang out with. But who would I want running the country? I would want Trump running the country.
Man.
He has set this country back 50 years. He's opened the door for that shit that's going on down in Florida right now. He has fucked up this country more than any president. Sorry.
And Joe Biden with a whole new Metro Detroit has come into.
Trump has taken away the decency of America.
Go ahead, Vanessa.
Personal things.
Go, Vanessa.
Well,
then you care.
And I've said this before, and I got beat up on it. I'm not a Trump supporter, and then he did some things that I did not like. But every bad person does not do all bad things. He did do some good things.
Like what?
The economy was much better when he was in office than it is now.
Well, how can you?
Wait a minute. Listen, I can because I can.
No, but that's bullshit. We had a pandemic. The pandemic.
Before the pandemic, it was booming.
And it's doing pretty well considering the pandemic.
Considering $5 gallon gas.
Well, you know what? We've had issues.
The man turned the pipeline off. What do you expect's going to happen? That was stupid.
It's not $5 gas, by the way.
But it got up there.
So
it got up there a lot of different
I would
times.
not vote for the man, but I will not sit here and say that everything he did was bad. Just like someone that I like, I can't say that everything.
You know what?
That
You can
did
say
was
that
good.
about Hitler. Hitler took the unemployment rate.
You said it.
I'm saying this. Hitler took the unemployment rate and improved the unemployment rate. So you can say something good about anybody. That doesn't take away their evilness.
I'm sorry.
But this is not high school. This is the United States of America. I don't have to let me give you the best example. If I got a house that's full of rodents, rats, and roaches and other things, I want somebody that's going to come in and clean that out.
Well, he's the biggest roach and rat.
And you know what? Sometimes it takes one to get rid of the one.
You say it's America.
You're taking this like a high school.
I look at America and I see what's happening down in Florida. I see Donald Trump, who's getting
look at California.
getting indicted,
Although that's political.
and you watch Jim Jordan and these
criminal.
people attack
He's a criminal.
the Justice Department.
You saying Trump is a criminal?
Has he been convicted?
He will.
He hasn't been.
Now,
is-
that's the future. Has
He's a
He's
lifelong
racist.
criminal. He's a
Listen, I have to
lifelong
say-
criminal.
And what is Biden, Mr. Bermisa? What is he? $17 million rolling in. Is he a criminal?
Where do you
So, but wait a
prove
minute.
that?
So are we
Where do you
sitting here
prove
saying
that?
that everybody?
Wait a minute, hold
Are we
on.
sitting here saying that everybody that gets in office is a criminal? Because you're saying Trump is a criminal. You're saying Biden is a criminal.
I'm not
I mean,
saying that.
Is that what we're saying?
I'm saying we have sunk to a low that I've never
We're in
seen.
a
Yeah,
sunken- sunken place.
We are deeper than that thing that went underwater.
But you know what's gonna happen, Terry. You know what's gonna happen. You saw Back to the Future, right?
Yes.
When he asked Marty who's the president, he said Ronald Reagan. He said the actor, and he said I don't want.
But you know,
Right? And that's gonna be 50 years and now. Who was the president? Donald Trump, the apprentice.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the funny thing. I want to take you back before Donald Trump announced he was running. Donald Trump was well loved. Rappers wanted to be make songs about with Donald Trump in them. Everybody, I want to be like Donald Trump. The moment he said, "I'm running as a Republican," look out, the world changed.
And they turned.
You know what?
Is it about the man?
S the New Yorkers.
And I agree with you. It's about that because
No.
he gave so much money. Wait a minute. He was in bed with
Sharp
Clinton.
and Jackson.
the
Clinton.
Clintons,
Yeah.
good friends, hanging out the whole nine.
That's right.
And he said, if I run for president, I'm going to run as a Republican. He ran as a Republican, and he.
Why
and he
don't
won.
they hate
And they-
Blumenthal like that? He was a Republican. He was independent. Bloomberg. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But nobody hates him like
didn't
they
switch
hate Trump.
parties.
Yes, he did.
He went from one to the middle. That's
No, he was a
No,
Republican.
he was a Republican.
And went to an
Democrat, he was
independent.
He was a Democrat too.
Yeah, but he didn't run for anything.
Well, but anyway,
So what
Anyway.
difference does it make? You said
Anyway,
he was
we
a
can-
Democrat, he was an independent, he was a Republican. Listen,
Anyway,
Look,
Vote for the man,
I'll
not the
I'll
party.
say
or
this.
the woman,
Or the woman.
or the woman,
The best
vote
qualified
for
person.
the best qualified person.
I'm-
Stop with the D's and the R's. I
Amen.
get sick of these people. R's
we gonna
and D's
okay.
follow the party line
Let's
to the
put
hilt.
the
That's
J. Let's put the
ridiculous.
J on Trump jerk.
Okay.
That's
And we'll put an eye on Biden for idiot.
Yeah, no, he ain't
All right,
idiot.
D is right for Biden. Dementia.
That's what you think. Well,
I'll say
anyway,
this. Look,
go
Trump-
He's a sandbagger or falls over.
Okay, look, I give Trump. You know, Trump did a few good things.
Like
he had
what?
the Abraham Accords, the low-hanging fruit.
Look how many
where-
black people he let out of jail. Guess who?
That was-
guess who commuted Kwame Kilpatrick's sentence?
An insane
Detroit,
person.
in black and white. The black was Kwame, the white was Trump. He commuted his sentence, but the black man
Don't
in
use,
office,
don't
Obama.
use our logo. Don't use.
Obama,
I told
the
you.
black man did
We're gonna have to
nothing
mute his
for
mic.
Mary
Terry
Alice.
gonna have to come back.
Mute his
Can
mic.
y'all imagine the conversation that we had on the telephone
Hey,
going
man.
back and forth?
But I-
Hey, listen.
The
We're gonna let
man
it go.
has the lowest character. He has no
Character's not on the ballot.
he has no appreciation for the truth. He is the biggest. I mean, all of them lie,
Let me
but
say
he is.
exactly. So you said
There is
all
no
of
one
them
who
lie.
lies.
So all of them lie.
Well,
You
we-
just
we
said
got-
all of them
no, but
lie.
We're gonna
So
we're gonna wrap
what's the
we're gonna wrap this
He
up.
has no. He doesn't even know the distinction between the truth or not. He
Biden
makes up
doesn't know
shit.
what day of the week it
We
is.
gonna wrap this up. Terry, I appreciate you. It's a pleasure coming on here.
Thank you for having me.
Terry Johnson.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Take a break.
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. We are living through unprecedented times. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. Residents may apply for up to $25,000 to help cover 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax years. Previous year's taxes must be paid in full or in a payment agreement with the Treasurer's office. Eligible homeowners must have a qualified financial hardship that occurred on or after January 21st, 2020, You must currently own and occupy your home as your primary residence and must have owned it since January 21st, 2020. To see if you qualify, please visit waynemetro.org, call 313-388-9799, or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
All right, we are back. We're going to talk about the
And
the
for all
death
you
in
guys
the
that's wondering, Adolph, he left the building.
Adolph is right here. We're at the corner of Michigan and Trumbull, as Ernie Harwell used to say. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Tiger Baseball. We've got Jim Nardone, who is the former police chief in Trenton. Correct.
Yes,
The downriver. I try to keep track of all those places down there. We're going to talk about there's something that happened in the Wayne County Jail, and you want to tell us a little bit about what you know about it.
Unfortunately, last week a young man was sentenced to 71 days on a drunk driving conviction. Unfortunately, he lost his life the first night he was in the jail. He was beaten to death by his cellmate.
Wow.
And how did you find out about it? Was this reported in the media, or was it?
It was. I read about it in the press.
Okay.
Yes. His sisters were on WXYZ's Channel 7 last evening talking about his death, and their position was he screwed up. They said he made a mistake.
He went to jail for drunk driving. He didn't. And you know what? You go there. You don't go there to die. You go there to do your time, and then you're supposed to get out. But he went out in a body bag, basically.
That's exactly their point. He was on life support.
That's pretty effed up. What has the Wayne County Sheriff had to say about it?
From my understanding,
What's his name, by the way?
Mr. Carr. I think his name was Carr.
Who's the Wayne County Sheriff?
Raphael Washington.
Okay, the
is the
reason
Wayne County
I said
Sheriff.
that is because a few weeks ago I was out of town, and some introductions were made, and these were Wayne County residents, and I was like, well, who is that? They didn't even know he was the Wayne County Sheriff, let alone recognize his name. So the Wayne County Sheriff, his name is Raphael Washington, and he's running for office next year.
He was duly elected last year, and he is accountable to the residents of Wayne County. They elected him, so he is accountable, and we need to find out what happened here. I'm not sure that he's told the press or told the public who elected him what happened here.
So in the jail, do they have cameras? Are they're supposed to watch the people while they're in jail, right?
Well, they do. One of the things that they mentioned yesterday, the way it's set up is there's one pad in the middle and there's a pad on each corner. So there were around 5 people on a cell. I guess I'll call it a cell block. I'm not familiar. I never worked in a jail.
I've gone to the jail. I hate going to the jail to visit clients, but I mean, I don't like the clanging of the being locked in or anything like that. And they have 2 downtown, so I don't know if it was 1 or 2, but
it was a jail, I believe, number 1. But they had 5 people at each corner, and then a pod in the middle where an employee was. Now it's down to 3. So it looks like each corner. So they have a corrections officer at each corner and not the 4. Unfortunately, that's due to staffing levels, and it's been a huge challenge over the last. This isn't anything new. Over the last since I've been involved in policing 30 plus years, they've had problems finding people to do the job.
Right.
So he inherited, so to speak, a position in where it's understaffed. Basically, Wayne County Sheriff's Office is understaffed. So they probably need to do some real recruiting efforts in order to get some quality people in there to work. And from what I understand, I've talked to a few people. I mean, the staff morale is just at an all-time low. I don't know what he or anybody else that, may get that position to do, but that's definitely something that needs to be addressed. But the problem with this death is this. This man was supposed to do 72 days.
71 days.
71 days for drunk driving.
Or a third of that, minimum.
He's right. He's dead, right? We don't know exactly what happened. You're at the top of the food chain line, Mr. Washington. People need some explanations, but guess what else is going to come after this? You know what's coming. You know what's right
Of course. Lawyers.
Wayne County, you just need to go ahead and get the checkbook out and start writing a check. That's awful.
And that's our money.
That's awful.
We're the
So
we're the
not only do
taxpayers
you
in
have
Wayne
to
County.
explain, but guess what? When you explain, you also have to tell us that we're writing a check because it was our bad.
Well, resources are a problem, and they have been, and any employer has to work hard, especially in the law enforcement profession. A lot of their deputies leave for suburban departments because they want to be on the road. They don't want to be in a jail all day.
Right.
And they're working, some of those guys are working 100 hours a week, ordered to work, from my understanding. And that's very unfortunate.
Yeah. That is really
Well, I
sad.
think the question now is going to be what action is taken to prevent that from happening. Because that's, look, you're running a jail with a lot of people who are not great people, who are your customers or whatever you want to call them. But you've got a tough situation, and then you've got to get quality. When you're short of help, you sometimes have to hire some people that you might not ordinarily help. You sort of bend the standards a little bit. But I think the county jail's been screwed up for a long time. I don't even know where are they at right now with the building of a new jail. My understanding is that I don't know if it's still happening, but federal prisoners weren't even being held in the Wayne County Jail anymore because of the conditions there.
I don't know about that, but the new Wayne County Jail, the new complex, I think I've heard that everybody is supposed to be moving around September.
Oh, right. Okay.
That's what I've heard. That's been the rumor. But even if you move into a new building, if you don't have a staff, I mean, what the hell difference does it make?
Right.
I mean, you're still going to have the same problem. You're just going to have a different address.
I mean, you talk about civil rights and stuff like that. I mean, we're seeing and I don't know what the conditions are exactly here, but we're hearing a lot of reports out of Texas with the heat wave down there. There's no air conditioning in the prisons, and they're treated like animals. I mean, even if our system is set up that even there's some dignity afforded to the worst criminals in the world, and we're having these screw ups here, and just really, I mean, here in the conditions in they need to improve in a lot of places, and but
there were federal lawsuits back in I believe it was the early 70s or late 60s on the conditions of the Wayne County Jail.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the problem I used to cover prisons for the Detroit News. I was in the Lansing Bureau. I went to all the prisons, to Marquette, to Jackson. They're just the systems are still screwed up. They still need, all the prison systems always need improvements, and I don't know how.
Have you ever been to jail?
I was arrested during the strike twice, but we were just detained at the precinct, so I've never been. I've been in prisons. I've been in. I've been in. Hold on. I've been in the prisons all around the state. I've talked to inmates all the time, cop killers, rapists, who were some of my sources. It would call. So it's not like I'm totally unfamiliar with the.
I like messing with you. We got to go to a break. We're going to go to a
damn it, I'm going to
commercial.
get arrested just to show you that I can.
Right. We're going to go to a break. And when we come.
You can dish it out, but you got so that you can't take it no more.
All right, we're going to take a break here. Can we?
I'm Wayne County Treasurer Eric Sabri. We are living through unprecedented times. As a result, the Michigan Homeowner Assistance Fund was created. This fund, administered by the state of Michigan, is designed to help homeowners cope with pandemic-related hardships, such as delinquent property taxes. Residents may apply for up to $25,000 to help cover 2019, 2020, and 2021 tax years. Previous year's taxes must be paid in full or in a payment agreement with the Treasurer's office. Eligible homeowners must have a qualified financial hardship that occurred on or after January 21st, 2020. You must currently own and occupy your home as your primary residence and must have owned it since January 21st, 2020. To see if you qualify, please visit waynemetro.org, call 313-388-9799, or email taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Okay, we are back.
I'm back. Won't you introduce the young
Okay.
lady, Vanessa?
Yeah, we have Tay Ford, who is a member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, of which I am also a member. So this is my soror. But
Before you go,
Yeah.
we get on with the question, tell our viewers how to reach us.
oh, let me go back. If you're watching Detroit in black and white, you can find us on our website, Detroit in black and white. You can also find us on our YouTube channel, Detroit in black and white. Also through Deadline Detroit. You can also find us on YouTube. If you find us, like, subscribe, and share.
And
Like,
Facebook.
subscribe, and share. And you can also find us on Facebook. Okay.
Oh, Facebook.
It's
Facebook.
Facebook on
Facebook.
on Detroit in black and white and Deadline Detroit. And again, the website is DetroitinBlackandWhite.com. You can see all the shows from the very beginning. They're all there. And you can listen to it by video, you can watch video, or listen to it on a podcast. The
No, I don't
podcast,
think we're on
anywhere
TikTok.
where you download a podcast, you
What
can
about
get us.
Instagram or Telegram?
Yeah. All right.
At any rate,
Okay,
so
go ahead.
Tay Ford is here to talk about the Rho Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated Rho Sigma chapter. We're putting on a clinic, a swim clinic, and Tay Ford is the event chair for this event, which will take place next weekend. So she's here to talk about this event. Welcome.
Yes. So I am super grateful for the opportunity not only to be here with all of you, but also to share this platform with my soror. So thank you. And thank you from our sorority. So I represent Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, as well as the Rho Sigma chapter, which is the Detroit alumni chapter. And we are so excited to talk about Swim 1922. So Swim 1922 is an initiative that the Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated, in partnership with USA Swimming, came together to make sure that we talked about swim safety in our communities. It's so important that we talk about it because not only do we see that there is an increase of those that are drowning, but it's an increase especially in our African American community. So African American children are 3 times as likely to die by drowning than our Caucasian counterparts, and it's so important.
Yeah, it used to be.
I need to talk louder.
We used to be didn't have swimming pools in the neighborhoods, or they were segregated. Now the schools used to have swimming pools. They don't. So how can kids in the neighborhood get access to a pool?
So it is amazing what the City of Parks and Recreations in Detroit is doing, which they are not only offering swim lessons, but their pools are activated in the communities.
How many are there? How many pools are there?
I don't exactly know the exact number of how many, but you can go on City of Park Recreation's Detroit website and you are able to see a listing, but you're also able to see the listings of the times. You're also able to see what they offer. And it's not just indoor pools, it's outdoor pools too. So let's say even when the summer is over, you have the opportunity to still include those swimming lessons or swim activities during the winter and fall season.
So Tay, tell us about the event for next weekend. Tell our viewers about the event that's going to take place next weekend.
Yes. So Rho Sigma chapter is going to be partnering with Brennan Pool, which is located in Rouge Park. It is a pool activation of the City of Parks for the Detroit Recreation. We're going to be there from 12 to 4 p.m., bringing not only resources in regards to the community, but we'll be having water and swim activities. We'll be having information for swim safety, and there will be opportunities to sign up for swim lessons, and we'll be giving giveaways for that as well.
Are you a good swimmer?
I am. So I actually learned as a child, and then my son, who was 12 now, he started when he was 3. So he is active in swimming too, and that was something that was important to our family as well.
Sure.
So is this event free?
Yes, it is. So you can actually go on Eventbrite and register. But even let's say you don't go on Eventbrite and you just want to come out and see it, check it out, you are able to come out and check it out. We are sponsoring the first 100 people. But if you have a Park and Recreation pass, you are able to get in for free. After that, it is $2.
Okay.
It is $2.
So first 100 people,
Yes.
free, because we're sponsoring it. If you have a card, it's free. And if you don't have a card, it's $2.
Yes.
You can't beat that.
And we'll have live DJ. We'll have giveaways. We'll have some safety resource tables. We'll have tables, just community resources, because it's not only about swim safety, but it's letting people know that they have access to accessibility in our community right here.
We need to have it.
And is there a Facebook posting or something where people can look up?
I'm so excited that you said that. So if you follow Rho Sigma Detroit Alumni Chapter on Facebook, you are able to not only see our flyer, but you are also able to register.
Okay, great.
Well, thank you
Okay,
very
well,
much.
thanks so much. It's a great program. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Well, you know, we at Next Change.
Yeah.
The little rowdy today.
Yeah, it's a
So
little
yeah,
loud.
we received messages that people say, "Where are you today?" We at McShane's, the same place we've been for the last month and a half. We also have had people say, "Hey, it's a lot of noise." Well, that's what happens when you're doing a live show, when you're doing a live remote. That's why it's important for us that are sitting here at this table to project, okay, and talk loud.
We hear you.
You need to talk louder. You need to talk louder. You good today.
All right. Okay, beautiful.
But you have hearing
All
problems.
right. Well,
No.
But anyway, your final thought.
my final thoughts are I just think we have to be very vigilant what we're seeing down in the state of Florida. We hope it doesn't metastasize into other parts of the country. And that's the goal of Ron DeSantis, to send out his really racist bullshit and trying to spread that around, around the country and trying to sell that. And hopefully people aren't buying what he's putting down, as they say.
Okay.
Well, my final thought, I always try to end on a positive note. Listen, if this initiative happens in Florida, guess what?
It's coming.
We're not going to lay down and die. We're going to continue to talk about our history. We're going to talk about our history to our families, to our kids. We're going to do what we have always done. Okay. So, you know what? It's a hit, but it's not going to take us down. We're not going away. The history is the history. Everybody go out, have a good weekend, have fun, be safe, and like, subscribe, and share Detroit in black and white. And
I want to thank everybody and our guests and our viewers. We'll be back next week at 10 a.m. Detroit in black and white. I'm Adolph Mongo, Vanessa Moss, Allan Lengel, and the people at Next Change. Bob Roberts. Thank you, Bob.
Yep.
Swim 1922,
All right.
July 29th.
All right, Henry, we're going to...
Henry.